Hello and welcome back to Bets, the most prolific show on the internet. We have three classic segments for you today. First, we're going to be riffing about our March Madness brackets, giving our Final Four predictions. Then, we're giving our MLB League winner predictions, and finally, ending off with our surefire picks of the week. So don't go anywhere, because Bet starts right now. And we're back once again, as always. Scott Harris, Augie Aronson, how are we doing today?
Oh, what a month. What a month it is this year. Oh, this time of year is always great.
It's
I know Augie's
a fantastic day. I'm going to channel my inner Jaden Hermit here. The birds are, the sun is shining. The birds are chirping.
Give me that.
It's a beautiful day. And baseball is back, people. It is opening freaking day. Let's go. I know Scott Harris is just as fired up as I am.
Oh yeah, I'm fired up about this whole show. I'm so excited. It's been so long.
Oh, if there was a game going on right now, I'd be watching it while talking, but the first game doesn't start until 1:15.
But I think we should wait to talk about baseball.
I think we should wait to talk about baseball because we have the best playoff format in the history of sports.
Oh,
honestly.
Yeah.
We got March Madness. We got two great guests with us today. We got Austin Suarez. We got Noah Green. How we doing, boys?
Gentlemen, I am absolutely wonderful. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. You know, very privileged to be joined not only by the Bets boys, but the GOAT himself, Noah Green. Noah, how are you?
Yes, sir. I'm doing amazing. Excited to make everybody some money.
Let's do it. I mean,
what I like to hear.
I mean, all these parlays we're going to be riffing about, I mean, they're all like plus 3,000 because it's going to be our final
crazy.
All of the Final Four selections bundled into one. So it's going to be a little crazy.
Yeah.
Going to get a little wild.
Love that camaraderie on the couch, too.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I love that, guys. That's pretty good.
Team chemistry plus 10.
Hey, maybe we got like a perspective into the future here. We got the future of HTF here.
The future.
With the camaraderie that we got going
bro,
on
I'm
here.
so excited.
I see some Bets boys camaraderie
in the future?
on that couch
I mean,
there.
yeah, before we do anything, I mean, let's get into our picks. Like, Augie, I'm having you go first. Give us your Final Four.
So first, I'll just start off by listing my Final Four. UConn, Michigan, Houston, Arizona. I think Duke is a fugazi. Not crazy about them. They're a great team. I just don't think they get it done. I'm not overly impressed by this Duke team. They are very talented, and I could see them making it. There's no doubt about that. They are the 1 seed for a reason. I just like UConn. UConn has a proven track record. They get it done. Dan Hurley is the man, and they just get it done. And they are the 2 seed. They have plenty of talent. Let me move to Michigan. Michigan's a fantastic team. I like them a lot. I don't know. They screwed me once already where they beat my bet against Michigan State. But they're a great team. Yaxel Arborough, he's the man. They're a great team. Houston's the one I'm the most skeptical about because I feel like in the past, except for maybe last year because Houston made it to the championship, Houston's always under-delivered, it felt like, in March. They've always been the team that you thought was going to win it, but they've just really under-delivered, it feels like, for a while. But last year they delivered. They made it all the way to the championship. So I really like that team. And then Arizona. Arizona is who I have winning the entire thing. They are spectacular. That's really it. I mean, I think they're the best team in the tournament, and I think they win it.
Yeah. Honestly, you said you weren't too sure about Houston. I think other than Arizona, Houston's your best pick. I think that region is the easiest region to come out of.
Yeah,
especially
it's just a history of Houston. Yeah. No, if
Florida
didn't lose,
one of the best coached teams in college basketball.
If Florida didn't lose, Florida would have been my pick. But I think Houston's past history is making me a little skeptical. I think this team is very talented, and they should win their region now that Florida's gone. Their history made me a little skeptical, though.
Fair enough. All right, I'll get to you, Scott. What do you got?
Yeah, so I've got a little bit of a hot take. I'm going to throw a curveball at you here. I've got St. John's making it past.
Wow.
And going
I
to
love
the Final
that, Scott.
Four.
I
you
love
know
it.
that? I think they're a hot. So my Final Four, I'm going to list it out before I talk about St. John's. So my Final Four is St. John's, Arizona, Michigan, and Illinois. Illinois might be another one that kind of like, I don't know, not everyone would have, but everybody's got a different bracket. That's why it's so rare. I think St. John's is one of the hottest teams in the country. You know, they pulled off that buzzer beater against Kansas. However, they did have a questionable performance in that Kansas game. You know, they were kind of turnover machines and everything. It was so up in the air compared to the other teams they played, like when they killed UConn in the Big East tournament. I think St. John's has the power with the right confidence to make it past the Elite Eight and make it past the Sweet 16. And maybe make the Final Four. I think it's a good chance of it.
Yeah.
And it really goes without being said with Arizona and Michigan and the rest of them. My personal choice, I'm the same as Augie, and I think a lot of people would agree with me here. I think maybe even Ben would.
Yeah.
I've got Arizona winning the whole thing.
Yeah, I'll get away. I agree with
And
that completely.
Rick Pitino is nobody's going to outcoach St. John's.
No.
Rick Pitino is a
Pitino
collector of
is-
scalps.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is the best coach I've probably seen in a long time coaching college basketball. The only problem is that team just can't shoot, man.
No.
It is
Yeah.
they
It's
can't
horrible.
shoot for anything.
Yeah.
That's the only problem I feel like they have. But
But they're really close in range, like in the paint.
They're
really
great in
good.
the paint,
Yeah.
but they can't shoot for anything. So if they get down, I don't see them coming back.
Yeah.
So, but I do love this pick because nobody's going to outcoach St. John's. Dude, that's not going to be a concern. It's
So-
just going to be, can St. John's shoot?
Yeah, and I think it's the first time since 1999 they said that they're in the Sweet 16, which is
Yeah,
just
because they got
great.
stunned last year and knocked out early.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know about St. John's. I think they're just not as consistent as any of these teams. They have a good defense. They have a slow pace. That kind of bodes well in the tournament. But offensively, they're so bad. They looked
know.
horrible against Kansas, turned the ball over so much. But they do force a lot of turnovers. So maybe if they can get it done. If they get it done against Duke, I think they got a good chance.
That
of
Kansas game was real sloppy.
It was.
I remember texting you about it. It was so like
I remember seeing that
turnovers on
game.
inbounds passes.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
sloppy. Like I remember there was a turnover, then Kansas turned it over on the inbounds pass, and then St. John's turned
Yeah.
it back over. And I'm just like, what is
I'm
what is
thinking
going
neither
on
of these
here?
teams are going to beat Duke. That's like
Yeah,
what's going
no.
through my mind. None of
Yeah,
these teams
but-
are beating Duke.
But St. John's, if they can get even just a little bit hot from the three,
Yeah.
they'll make a run.
Yeah, and I have to disagree with you. I have
all
to
right.
agree with Augie and disagree with you here. I think Duke is a fugazi, and I think St. John's is going to take it over.
We will just have to see. But I'm going to kick it to the boys on the couch. What do you got for us?
Well, I couldn't agree more with you, Augie. I have Duke getting eliminated in the Elite Eight by UConn. Shots come and go, but truly good defense is what keeps teams alive. And by disrupting Duke's offensive flow and by forcing Duke to take those contested shots late in the clock, UConn is going to win the East. With that being said, my Final Four, left side of the bracket, starting off, we got UConn versus Houston. And I have UConn taking this game. They're going to match Houston's toughness. Houston's identity has always been toughness plus defense. The only problem for Houston, like I just said, is that UConn can match that very efficiently. This neutralizes Houston's biggest advantage and shifts the momentum into UConn's favor. On the other side of the bracket, I have Arizona taking on Michigan, the battle of the number one seeds. I obviously have Arizona taking this one. That fast-paced style of Arizona play will once again be used to come away with the win in this matchup. They'll force Michigan out of their comfort zone with their pace, and you can't key in on one guy with Arizona. You got Koa Pete, Braden Burries, Toby Awaka. With this versatility, it will force Michigan to constantly adjust. And with that being said, my national championship prediction, Arizona versus UConn. Everyone acts surprised when I predict that Arizona is going to win this. Everyone knew from the beginning that this was Arizona's tournament. And once again, Arizona is going to outpace, outshoot, and completely cut the nets on their opponent. The only difference is that this game will give them a national championship.
Absolutely.
I like those picks a lot. My Final Four is going to be Duke versus Iowa and Arizona versus Michigan. And Duke, they had a scare against Cena, but they bounced back big against TCU, winning 81-58. Cameron Boozer, 19 points, likely one of the top picks in this upcoming NBA draft. Arizona, only 2 losses, led by Jaden Bradley, Braden Burley's really successful season, but they've only played against LIU and Utah State so far in this tournament. Next up is Michigan, led by forward Yaxel Lendenberg, who's averaging 14.7 points per game, and Morris Johnson Jr. having a 67.9% field goal rate. Little pause there. And the team I really want to talk about, which kind of surprised some people last weekend, was Iowa. Number 9 ranked, and they upset the Florida Gators. Crazy game, won against the top seed, and scoring 20 points was Tavon Banks. And they won by 1 point, scored by Alvaro Fulgueras from 3 back in the corner, and they made that game-winning 3. Bennett Sturdiz also on that team, a potential NBA draft pick. And my matchup for the Final Four, I probably won't have Iowa beating Duke because Duke is just so good. I'm probably going to have it be Duke and Arizona. And I think if you're saying a team other than Arizona is going to win this, then I think you're flat out wrong. I think Arizona, Big 12 is the strongest conference in March Madness, strongest conference in college basketball, and Arizona has walked through that with only 2 losses, it's going to be Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you. I mean, we all have Arizona. I think that is the consensus pick here. I mean, we all have very different Final Fours, but it's consistent with Arizona. I think most of us think Arizona's winning it all, me included. But
that Iowa pick is exciting, though.
that is. They're a very well-coached team. They're really exciting.
They got, what, Wisconsin or Nebraska in their game
got Nebraska
today? Nebraska?
today.
Okay, yeah, I knew it was one of those two. I do like the Iowa pick. It's an interesting match. It definitely is an interesting matchup. It's an interesting pick. The Iowa team can shoot. It's an interesting pick.
I have to say it's a beautiful thing that Florida's not going to make it. That's all I have to say about Iowa.
It is.
Really. It's
I hear that, Scott Harris.
As a Gators fan, it hurts, but whatever.
I'm glad they're not in there.
You can't win the championship every year.
Right. Before we run out of time in this segment, I got to give my picks. First off, I got Duke. Y'all said Duke is Fugazi. I completely disagree. They were sleepwalking in Siena, I know, but I don't think that has anything to do with how good they are. They have the highest odds to make the Final Four at 47%. I don't think St. John's poses much of a threat. I'm sorry, Scotty.
All right.
They have good defense, but they looked horrendous offensively last game. I mentioned against Kansas. They looked horrible. Their Elite Eight matchup could be scary, either UConn or Michigan State. I think they're going to go against Michigan State. I know a lot of you guys have UConn going there, but I think Michigan State's going to get through them. And then that's going to be tough, but I think they get through that. And then Illinois, you talked about Illinois. They have one of the best offenses in college basketball, but they concern me the most. They have to go through Houston. That's a really tough matchup. Defensively, they match up really well. Houston defends the pick and roll really well, and Illinois runs the pick and roll really well. So it's going to be interesting to see. Something's going to have to give. But once they get past that, it's smooth sailing. I don't think Iowa or Nebraska would give them any trouble in the Elite Eight. But yeah, whoever wins between them and Houston is going to the Final Four, no doubt about it. And then Arizona, talked about them. Everyone's got them going to the Final Four, winning the championship. They have an interesting matchup this week, though, we haven't mentioned in the Sweet 16. They're going against Arkansas. Arkansas is really hot. They have Acuff. Just got a shoe deal with Reebok as a college basketball player. Kind of insane there. So they're riding off some momentum in the tournament also. Very well coached, John Calipari, historical coach. But I don't think they do anything against Arizona. Arizona gets it done. They're the best team at the rim. And Arkansas doesn't defend the rim that well, so I think they just dominate in the paint, and that's going to be the story there. I have them rolling through all their competition to the Final Four. And then lastly, I have Iowa State. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think anyone else had Iowa State going to the Final Four. I think most people had Michigan coming out of there, but they look so good. Despite their injury to the star forward Joshua Jefferson, I don't think Tennessee that they go against in this round gives them any problems. No. And then Michigan, that's going to be a hard game, but if they do have Joshua Jefferson back, I like their odds a lot against Michigan, and I think if they don't have him, they'll still do really well. They are a well-rounded team, great on defense, and also very good on offense. I had them over Michigan, but I think it's going to be 50-50. I'm pretty confident about my picks, especially since I have the number 1 bracket in the HTF league, not to flex.
Yeah.
But
I think I'm like number 5 or something.
I have no idea what my bracket's doing. I haven't been able to log in and check it. But yeah, I do like the Iowa State pick. It's just for me, it depends on how fast Jefferson can come back.
Yeah, it's really about how he can come back. Yeah, he missed the first weekend, but
if he can play versus Michigan, then you got a chance. I don't think if he plays though, then Iowa State doesn't win.
We'll have
or
to
Iowa State
see
wins.
how it plays out. I mean, March Madness is the best playoff bracket. I'm excited either way, whatever happens. My bracket's already busted, everyone's is, but it doesn't matter. But thank you boys on the couch for coming for this segment. That's going to be all the time we have. Next, I know y'all boys are excited. We're going to be talking about baseball opening week. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The quick interruption. We'll be right back for your show. For now, let me give you a quick rundown of what the Hitting the Field Network has planned for you. My name is Edgar Rodriguez, and I'm the host of Hitting the Field Season 22, live streaming every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. There, you'll find me and our expert guests talking about everything in the wide world of sports. On Tuesday, get ready because it's Season 10 of Nighttime. Hosted by Andrew Gregg and Joe Geiger, Nighttime keeps you up to date on everything happening in the world of college sports and UCF athletics. Moving on to Wednesday, we have Season 8 of The Combine, hosted by our very own Kathleen Moore. This podcast takes a deep and technical dive into everything NFL, and you won't want to miss that. On Thursday, we go live with Bets, where our Bets boys, Ben Huber, Augie Aronson, and Scott Harris, will give their expert opinion that might just make you some money. On Friday, Season 4 of Girls Got Game takes over. with only the hottest topics in women's sports, hosted by none other than Katie Sue Christensen and Mia Flores. And to round out the week, Season 3 of HTFC comes on Saturday, hosted by Octavius Lawrence and Santiago Molina. Soccer never stops, and HTFC will be your stop for everything in the world of football. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok, where you can find non-stop additional content, as well as stay updated on all HTFN news. Lastly, leave a like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the Hitting the Field Network on YouTube. That's all I got. I'm Edgar Rodriguez signing off. Enjoy the rest of your show.
And we are back talking MLB. We're going to be giving our predictions for our league winners. We're talking about pretty far in the future here, but
it's opening day.
It's opening day, but we're going to predict what we think we're going to do. I mean, I think
quite literally have like half a year until this bet will even produce anything. But yeah, it's never too soon.
I gave you a little preview on how stoked I am about this. Augie did too. We're back at the Trop, baby.
Oh boy.
We're back at the Trop.
Worst stadium.
It's not going to change anything.
Oh man, I'm so stoked.
It's the worst stadium in the history of the MLB. Like, it's a piece.
Oh,
that's all I'm going to say. It's a dump. But it's your dump, Scott, and it's okay for you to love it.
It's a charm to the league.
But before we get into our predictions, we're going to introduce our resident MLB expert, Blake Bogue, on the couch. How are we?
Thank you guys so much for having me. I am doing great. Baseball is back, and that is a beautiful thing for me to be saying on this beautiful day. I'm so excited. For my selection for this, it is going to be the Philadelphia Phillies to win the National League, and they've been a consistent National League contender for the past 5 or so seasons. And I mean, to start, the rotation of this team is one of the best in baseball, in my opinion. You look at guys like Jesus Luzardo, Christopher Sanchez. He is a Cy Young candidate like he was last season. Taijuan Walker, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, who is currently hurt. He should be back relatively in May or June, and as well, one of their young prospects in Painter, who, if he comes up, could be a staple in the back end of this rotation. And then to go to the lineup, it's led by guys like Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper, who are known lefty power hitters. They have 40, 50 home run seasons in them. And then the rest of their lineup led by guys like Trey Turner and Preston Stott, two great infielders, good with contact, and they're good on the base paths. And they also signed Adolis Garcia in the offseason to help out their outfield. And he did have a down season last year with the Texas Rangers, but if he can bounce back, he is an all-star level guy. They have JT Realmuto, who is a consistent catcher. He's been consistent the past few seasons, and this consistent speed, power, and contact is why I'm so in on them to potentially upset the Dodgers and winning the National League. I think that if the power is there and the contact does not fall short like it has the past few seasons in the postseason, then they can win the whole thing, not even just the National League.
Yeah, it's an interesting pick here. The Phillies have been a perennial team that's been right on the cusp of winning that, and they've been the World Series like what at least once, I think. Your pitching staff you talked about, you have probably the best group of starters that I've seen, maybe besides the Dodgers. Ranger Suarez is a little bit of a loss. He went to Boston, but hey, you got Painter. They announced Painter, by the way, is going to be on the opening day roster, so you can fill Painter in that slot. I do really like this pick a lot, though.
I do too. I have to say, like with this pick especially, we have players like Bryce Harper who are looking to prove like everyone wrong. Basically MLB media saying that he's not elite. You know, of course he's wearing that shirt. Of course that's saying the words. I just think there's more to prove with this team, and I think that is a pretty good pick.
Yeah, I mean I'd have to agree. Also, I mean they're always up there with them, some of the best, but it's really about getting past the Dodgers. That's why I stayed very, very far away from the NL. But yeah, Augie, what's gonna be your pick?
Yeah, I'm also in the National League, and look, let's be honest, it's probably going to be the Dodgers, but nobody wants to hear us talk about that pick.
No.
Nobody does, and it's going to be whoever can beat the Dodgers. But I'm going to go with the Mets, baby. The Mets. Yeah, I said the Mets. I know. But they're plus 700 to win the National League. This was a team that had a huge turnover from last season, and as they needed, they missed the playoffs. They lost to the Marlins twice when they needed to win. They had to win those games, and they lost. You see Lindor here. He's back. Soto's back. This is a team, though. Half their starting lineup is gone. Pete Alonso, Baltimore Orioles. Jeff McNeil, now with the Oakland, or actually Sacramento Athletics, whatever you want to call them, or just the Athletics. Brandon Nimmo, gone to Texas. Anybody else am I missing, Scott? I know there's more than that.
Yeah, you guys got rid of Jose Siri, which I think you should have given more of a chance.
Hey,
I know
Siri.
he had injury problems.
Okay. And we lost Edwin Diaz to Dodgers, but we got him Bo Bichette. We traded for Marcus Semien. We got Luis Robert.
Dreamweaver.
Yeah, we got Luke Weaver in the bullpen. Devin Williams. We took a couple Yankees relievers. Jorge Polanco from the Mariners. This team has massive turnover, but we got better. Now, obviously, I would have loved to keep Pete and Edwin Diaz, because if Pete Alonso in this lineup at first base would have been insane. You could have slided in Polanco at second base and not have gotten Semien back. Who really knows how he's going to play? He's been great in his career, a little bit on the back nine of his career. Hopefully he can pick it up a little bit. They called up Carson Benz, their top-rated prospect. Pitching staff, they got Freddie Peralta. They got their ace. Hopefully he signs an extension so it's not just a one-year rental. This is a team that's exciting. It's a team that has a lot of pitching. Nolan McLean, David Peterson coming off great years. Kodai Senga, that's my question. If Kodai Senga can return to how he's been and where he was the best pitcher in baseball for half that season before he got hurt on that Pete Alonso flip at first base, if he can return to the way he is, because right now he's the fifth guy in their bullpen, or fifth guy in their rotation. If Kodai Senga can return to the form he is, he's the best fifth guy in the history of the MLB. And he pitched to a 1 ERA.
So it's fair to assume that, you know, I know a lot of Mets fans were like really pissed off about the beginning of that offseason.
Because there was just losing players.
You think they redeemed themselves?
100%.
Obviously with this pick.
100%. If Freddie Peralta is a frontline ace, that's a huge addition. You signed Bo Bichette like 2 days later. Those are huge additions.
Yeah.
Luis Robert is my question too. Who knows? Because Luis Robert's supposed to have been the star for the White Sox. He was supposed to be that guy. If you can get half of what people think he was going to be, he's going to be a fantastic player to pair him out in the outfield with Juan Soto. Scott Boras talked about it. They were together all offseason training, so maybe Soto rubbed off on Luis Robert and he can be the next breakout star.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to kick off the AL.
Yeah.
I got the Seattle Mariners. They got pretty far in the postseason last year. They did lose a couple people, but then added some really good players also. Cal Raleigh, 60 home runs. Julio Rodriguez, 32 home runs. They did well in the postseason, like I said, but they came up short against the blazing hot Blue Jays, who took the Dodgers to 7 games. I mean, that was pretty unexpected. No one really thought the Blue Jays had much of a chance in there, and they almost did it. They almost pulled off the impossible.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, but I think the Mariners, they take another step forward in 2026. They've never gotten to the World Series, but I think that changes now. They added Brendan Donovan and also strengthened their bullpen. They did lose Eugenio Suarez to the Reds, but that was a trade deadline move, and it was kind of an obvious rental. So they didn't hold on to him, but I think that the moves they did make definitely outweigh what they lost. So I like Seattle Mariners at plus 500. It's a pretty good pick.
Yeah, it's a team with elite pitching staff.
Oh, yeah.
And they got a better bullpen, and their lineup was great. Jorge Polanco's a little bit of a loss for him. I think they can make up that production hope, so I do really like this pick. Yeah.
Do you think the beef between
between Randy and Cal?
Between Randy and Cal is
I think it was
a difference,
overplayed by the media. I'm
Yeah.
sure they texted each other and be like, hey, like, it's just competitive spirit.
Apparently they patched things up pretty quickly.
Yeah,
I mean, you got it.
If you don't know what we're talking about, when Mexico played Team USA, Cal Raleigh was catching and Randy Rosarena was hitting, and Cal refused a handshake. I think they're okay.
Yeah, and Randy dropped an F-bomb in an interview or something like that.
Yeah, he seemed very obvious that he was playing around and not actually serious.
Yeah.
All right, before we run out of time, I'm going to kick it to you, Scott, for our last pick of the segment.
Okay.
We're starting off with a prayer, ladies and gentlemen. Just know you're making a donation.
So let's just kick it off. This pick is plus 3,000.
And it should be worse.
That you know, I don't like doubters, okay?
Oh, God.
I'm like Augie here. I'm going with my favorite team. I'm going with the Tampa Bay Rays, okay? This is not a punishment, by the way. I'm completely okay. Last year they had a 77-85 record. This year they're projected to have 81-81. I don't believe that whatsoever. I think Caminero is basically cracking out of his shell. I think he's gonna have an elite year, and I think he's gonna have a career year. He's only 22 years old, and he's playing like Aaron Judge out there. I mean, he can hit balls. He can go yard, and it's just an obvious thing. You know, we have Yandy Diaz too, as we see in these clips here, who can also hit home runs from anywhere on the field. It doesn't matter if we were playing at a AAA park that has the dimensions of Yankee Stadium. It doesn't matter because we were doing it everywhere, every park. This is a home run hitting team, and I believe it. And we are also prioritizing offense when it comes to players like
Chandler Simpson?
Chandler Simpson. I lost that name for a second. Chandler Simpson, who can steal bases like crazy. He can run fast. Finally hit a career homer, which is kind of crazy for someone who's been in the MLB for a year. But, I mean, I've got the Georgia Tech guy. You know, he's taken it away this year. But also, like the Mets, the Rays have gotten rid of a lot of star power. We've gotten rid of Pete Fairbanks, our closing pitcher. I mean, he was kind of on the end of it, though. He wasn't having a good year last year with the Rays. You know, he had a great 2023 season with them. We got rid of Brendan Lau, who really wanted.
Pittsburgh spending money. How about that?
Lost him to Pittsburgh. Brendan Lau wanted to be a lifetime Ray, and we didn't give it to him. We traded him away. We also got rid of Josh Lowe as well, and other players like that. And Jake Mangum, young talent. He was I think he has the leading home runs in the SEC history. But I think it's going to make up. MLB Media has the Rays bullpen at number 5, but they also have them at last in the AL East. And I know the AL East is such a competitive division.
Stacked division, yeah.
It's such a stacked division. It doesn't matter. I think the Rays will be able to compete this year despite everything anyone said.
Yeah. We're just going to see how it plays out. That's all the time we have for this segment. Thank you so much, Blake, for coming on. We'll be back with our surefire picks of the week to end it off. We're Campus Combat.
And in case you missed it, here's everything that went down during the main card at UFC 324.
The Paramount era kicked off with non-stop action as Gene Silva and Arnold Allen went to war. Silva pushing the pace and taking the decision after 3 hard rounds.
Then things got heated when Natalia Silva edged out Rose Namajunas in a close fight that had fans arguing the second it ended.
Heavyweights clashed when Waldo Cortez Acosta shocked the world, putting Derek Lewis away with brutal ground and pound shots, solidifying his spot atop the division.
The comeback everyone was waiting for. Sean O'Malley showed he's still that guy, outclassing Song Yadong with clean striking and slick movement in a close win.
In the main event of the night, Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett withstood 5 rounds of pure violence. Huge strikes, no backing down. When it was all said and done, Gaethje stood tall, winning the interim lightweight title for the 2nd time in his career in an unforgettable performance. And that's a wrap on UFC 324.
Tune in to the next episode of Campus Combat on YouTube.
And we are back. Last segment of the episode, Surefire Picks of the Week. This is where we make you some money. If you missed everything to this point, tune in right now. Listen to these, lock in.
Now's the time you lock in.
Crank your beats up, noise canceling. Get it done. Yeah. I mean, all right.
We're no longer making donations like Scott's Tampa Bay Rays pick. Now we're actually trying to win you some money.
All right, speaking of Scott's pick, we're gonna give it to you first.
Okay,
Take the stage.
Scott, you got the ball, kid. What you got?
All right, I'm not gonna have a whole yap fest over this one. This one's pretty simple. I've got the Blackhawks taking it over the Rangers tonight. It is at 7 p.m. tonight. The Blackhawks are a great young team. Connor Bedard is tearing it up this season. It's kind of toilet versus trash. It's a toilet bowl. The Rangers have completely given up on themselves. Their management has given up on them. Even their goaltender refuses to wear designed equipment for the team because he knows he's going to be let go in the offseason. Basically, everybody knows they're going to be let go in the offseason. And I believe that the Blackhawks are going to take it tonight. The Rangers do not want to win, obviously. It's at Madison Square Garden. They have the worst home record in the NHL. Give me the Blackhawks.
I mean,
hey, sometimes these toilet bowl games are pretty freaking good.
Oh, they're good, but I still think the Blackhawks are going to take it over. And these are 2 teams that are probably fighting for the first pick, but I don't think the Blackhawks want it again. I think the Rangers are fighting for it harder.
I remember when social media made a Sacramento Kings and New Orleans or Pelicans game must-see TV.
No one wants to see that. I'm sorry.
And you know what? I have to say, ever since the NHL has gotten on ESPN and TNT, they've had games like this, and it's like, come on now.
It's like Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, we're seeing.
Put it on Amazon.
Yeah, we're seeing the Utah Mammoth against the freaking Vancouver Canucks. I mean, we don't want to see it, but keep going.
For my pick, we talked about March Madness earlier. We talked about the Nebraska versus Iowa matchup. I got Nebraska in this one. Both these Big Ten teams have played twice this year, and they split. Both very close games, but Nebraska won their last matchup. They were a higher-seeded team. They've won bigger games this season. But, I mean, Iowa did beat Florida. I don't know. But Nebraska, I do have the money line of winning this game. I think they're a more experienced team. But none of these teams are very experienced in March Madness. But I think Nebraska just has the better talent. Iowa, they're a very similar constructed team is what I'm trying to say. They both rely on the 3 ball. So whoever's hot is going to win this game. But I think Nebraska just kind of wants it more. I think they are a better coached team also. I think that's a huge advantage they have in this game. They split this season. I think Nebraska will get it done at -130. I got them moving on.
I like that.
Yeah, the internet's having a field day with this game. Not going to say why they're having a field day, but apparently this is supposed to be the most corner threes ever made in the history of basketball. Yeah. But yeah.
It's a corn-fed matchup.
Yeah. Somebody said that whoever wins this game is the new king of corn.
Interesting.
So we'll see who becomes the new king of corn. But with my pick, we talked about it earlier. I'm going with the New York Mets to beat the Pittsburgh Pirates. This game starts at 1:15, so pretty much you hear me talking about the Mets, put your slip in now, people, because this game starts in about 45 minutes. Freddie Peralta's got the ball for the Mets going against Paul Skeens. Look, it's Paul Skeens. I know. It's scary to get against Paul Skeens. We saw how he shut down the greatest lineup I've ever seen in the Dominican Republic. But it's the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's the Pittsburgh Pirates, man. Like, they spent a little bit of money this season.
Yeah.
They got Marcelo Ozuna. Marcelo Ozuna from the Pirates, no longer the Braves. Mm-hmm. You talked about Brandon Lowe. They spent a little bit of money. But just a little bit, guys. They didn't just blow it up. Like, they put out on their Twitter that they offered Kyle Schwarber a contract. Let's be for real. What other team is doing that? They don't spend money. The New York Mets got a lot of star power. They're going to want to start this game off right. Freddie Peralta's going to want to have a fantastic start for his brand new team. So this might be a little risky, but until the Pirates bullpen gets out there, then you'll be more calm. Because once you see Skeens out of there, you'll be fine because it's still opening day. He's not going to throw 130 pitches tonight. Right. He's just not going to do that. So give me the New York Mets versus the Pittsburgh Pirates at -121. In a home game for the Mets, by the way.
Yep. All very compelling picks. I mean, I think all of these could hit. We've not been as good this semester, but I think we bring it back. We rally after spring break. We had a lot of time to think.
Yeah.
I think we hit on these ones.
Well, hey, baseball season's coming up. That's my specialty.
That's
I know
all
it's
you.
Scott's specialty.
Yeah.
So now's the time to listen to us
That's
and
right.
start making some money.
But that's all the time we have in this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week going over some more picks, so don't go anywhere. See you later.